Hello everyone. We are the group 2 and today we will discuss about the communication process. I am Jalila Zara G. Villaflor and my group mate is Liza de la Fuente. So, let's start. Before anything else, let us know the guide questions. The first one is, what are the 8 elements of the communication process? Why is it important to know your audience in communication? What are the key principles of effective communication? How do ethics affect communication? And what is noise in communication? And how can it be avoided? So, what is the communication process? Communication is the exchange of ideas and or information. It involves sending, receiving, and understanding messages. Effective communication is essential in organizations. It follows a step-by-step process. Each step must be clear for success. Now let's explore the elements involved. Here are the steps in the communication process. Since communication is the exchange of ideas or information, we have here the steps. Okay, the first one is the sender. The sender is the originator of the message. For example, just like right now, I am the sender of the message because I am the one who is sharing the information to you. So I am the sender. Next one is message, the idea or content being shared. Um, Steps in the communication process is the message that I am sending to you. So it is the content that I am sharing or the information that I'm sharing to you. Next one is encoding. Encoding is turning the message into words, symbols, or etc. I will give you an example. An economist wants to warn the public about a possible recession. So he encodes his message by writing a report with charts and data and then shares it through a news interview. So, simply saying, encoding is like packaging an idea, turning it into words, visuals, or actions so the receiver can understand it. So, that is encoding. Next one is the medium. So, the medium is the channel used to send it. So, um, it can be verbal, written, visual, or digital. So, verbal is when you're speaking face to face or through phone call. Written is email, text reports, visual charts, diagrams, and signs, and digital social media, websites, or video calls. So, medium is a channel or method used to send the message from the sender to receiver. So, just like right now, it's a mix of verbal, visual, and written because I am speaking to you, I am sending information. Visual because I am presenting a PowerPoint presentation. And digital because I am presenting through a website. So that is the medium, is what use to send the message. It is what we use to send the message or the channel we use to send it. Next one is the receiver. So the receiver is the one who gets the message. So you are the receiver of the information that I'm sharing to you. So you are the receiver of the message. You're the one who's getting the information with the ideas. Lastly is decoding. So decoding is understanding the message. It is how the receiver interprets the message being sent by the sender. It involves reading, listening, or observing the message, understanding the words, tone, symbols, or visuals, making meaning from it based on context and knowledge. So that is decoding. It is how the receiver interprets or understands the message sent by the sender. So, for example, a student watches a video about inflation. So she listens to the speaker and reads the graphs to understand what inflation means. So that is decoding a message. So it is how you understand the information. So those are the steps in the communication process. Let's move on to the next one. So feedback and noise in communication. So now let's move on to feedback and noise in communication. So feedback is the receiver's response to the sender. It shows if the message was understood or not. While noise is anything that disrupts communication, it can occur at any stage. So examples are tech issues, unclear wording, or distractions. So these are examples of noises. So reducing noise improves effectiveness. So let's talk about feedback. So feedback is the response of the receiver to the sender if he or she got the message clearly, or did he or she understood the message sent. So it helps the sender to know if the message was clear, um, make corrections if needed, or improve the future communication. So that is feedback. It is the response of the receiver to the sender if he or she understood the message sent or not. Next one is noise. So what is noise in communication? Noise is anything that disrupts communication. Anything that disrupts or interferes with the message at any stage of communication. So that is noise. It can be physical, like loud background noises or poor internet. Technical, like glitches or low quality audio. Emotional, it might be stress, anger, or bias. And language, it might be jargon or unclear terms. So, noise is simply saying noise is anything that hinders us or barriers to communication. Noise is anything that gets in the way of clear communication, like tech problems or confusing language. So, next, next is the elements of the communication process. So, since we discussed already the steps of the communication process, here are the elements of the communication process. So you might be wondering if same sila, but they're not the same. The elements and the steps are related but not the same. So just think of elements as the building blocks of communication, the sender, message receiver, and so on. So the steps are how the message moves through these blocks in order. So the sender starts the communication. The sender is the one who shares the idea or information. The next one is the message. So the message is the idea being sent, is the content of this of what the sender is sending to the receiver. Number three is encoding. So encoding converts message into symbols and words for easily for the receiver to easily understand the message. Next is medium. Medium is the method of delivery. Um, It is how the message is being sent. So next one is decoding. So decoding is the interpretation, how the receiver interprets the message being sent. So the next one is receiver, the target of the message. So the receiver is the one who receives the idea or the information shared. Next is feedback. It confirms if the message was received clearly. So um, it confirms when the receiver makes a feedback, it confirms to the sender if he or she did understand the message well or not. And lastly is noise, barriers to clear communication. Anything that gets in the way to clear communication or disrupts the communication is a noise. So that's it for the elements of the communication process. So now let us move on to the general principles of communication. This will be reported by um, Ms. De La Fuente.
The general principles of communication is a two-way process that requires clarity, understanding, and respect. Some of its general principles are know your purpose to inform, persuade, and etc. Know your audience, background, and needs. Understand your topic well. Adapt to the context of the situation. Always seek and respond to feedback applies to both writing and speaking. Communication should fit the situation, culture, or environment. For example, if you ask your boss for a salary increase, you need to be clear, give reasons, and wait for feedback. Now, the principles of effective oral communication. Oral communication is speaking directly with others, like in conversations or meetings. For it to be effective, it should be clear about what you say, make your message complete and factual, be concise, avoid too many words, speak naturally with confidence, use proper tone and gestures, give timely and specific feedback. For example, when a vendor explains prices to customers in a market, they must be clear, polite, and accurate so that customer understands. Next, let's look at ethics in communication. Ethics following rules of honesty and integrity builds trust in communication, avoids deception, bias, or manipulation, applies in speech, writing, and behavior. Ethical communication strengthens credibility, must be consistent and respectful. Ethics means doing what is right, fair, and respectful when we communicate. This includes honesty, avoiding harmful words, respecting privacy, and giving correct information. For example, a seller must not lie about the quality of rice or vegetables just to earn money because this is unfair and dishonest. We also have the seven C's of ethical communication. These are the guides to make sure communication is effective and ethical. Completeness include all necessary information. Completeness use specific facts and clear details. Courtesy be, be respectful and polite to your audience. Correctness use proper language and accurate data. Clarity make your message easy to understand. Consideration focus on your audience's needs. Conciseness keep your message brief and direct. In short, communication becomes more effective and ethical when we follow these principles, whether in school, work, business, or daily life. Clear and honest communication builds trust and understanding.
So that's it, everyone. I hope you understood the communication process. Thank you.